Greetings, everybody. Welcome back to the Wonders Radio Show for August the 19th, 2012. I'll be your host. My name is Jeff Scarrett. You know when you get a cold some days, and I don't know, I woke up this morning drinking this tea for this cleanse, and you know when you get a cold and sometimes your voice gets really low and it's just kind of raspy, you just kind of want to sounds very official, radio like. Anyway, so here we are. It is the end of summer here in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. It's man, I love this time of year. It's like it's hot, but it's not. You don't get that intense heat, and the sun's a little lower in the sky. It's kind of like those lazy late summer days. You know, it's like, you know, you don't feel like doing anything. You just kind of want to sit back, relax, have a drink, read a book. It's beautiful. Love it. But you know, like part of that is Kim and I were doing this latest Wonders cleanse. There was a workshop that they did recently called Various Cleansing Protocols by the Wonders. I think it was around December. And, you know, both of us have done lots of master cleanses, lots of cleansing, and this kind of thing. And this was kind of like the next step. And when I was at the retreat, a bunch of the people that have been at the retreat who were at that workshop have been doing this cleanse too. And it's a little different from the master cleanse. You actually still get to eat really light, you know, eat really light vegetables, and then you drink this tea, this kind of like a tincture tea with various different tinctures in it, all day, like throughout the day for 12 days or so. And it's funny, like part of the workshop, the Wonders are talking about, you know, relaxation, how when a lot of people cleanse, they tend to just get all stressed out and they're doing what they normally do. And it's like, it's not easy to cleanse while you're all stressed out and trying to be too busy. So what the Wonders suggest in the one of the sessions is to be like a cat laying in the sun. They use that sort of image. When you see a cat just kind of like all stretched out and he's just like, oh, you know, not a care in the world. You got to love cats for that. But they were saying, you know, just be like a cat, just relax and just use the time while you're cleansing to really observe and uncover things, and don't stress yourself out too much. Don't be too busy. You know, so yeah, it's all around great. I highly recommend it. If anyone out there is interested in cleansing, I mean, it's just great. You get to clean your body, you get to relax. You know, it's for your own personal growth. You'll uncover all kinds of stuff. Trust me, you know, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically, you name it. It comes out when you're cleansing, because a lot of times all of the emotional and kind of baggage we carry around in life gets trapped in our bodies, literally is sort of expressed physically as well. So the more you sort of cleanse yourself of all of the physical issues, you also cleanse yourself of the emotional issues that tend to come up as you cleanse physically. So it's pretty wild. It's pretty wild. You know, I wasn't really cleansing before I met the Wonders. You know, like it took me a few years of you know, I had the health protocol from them in my first session, and then definitely, you know, changed my diet in a huge way. Started drinking spring water, or only organic food. Eventually went to vegetarian, and then, you know, started doing some cleansing. You know, lots of master cleanses, and now this, and it's pretty wild. You know, I mean, if you're thinking about cleansing and you're kind of a little freaked out by it, thinking, oh, I'm not going to eat, like how am I going to do this and maintain my you know, my busy life, and like all this emotional crap's going to come up and no one's going to want to be around me and all this and that, you know, well, I mean, that's true. All that stuff does happen, but you know, just see it as kind of a ride, right? It's like, it's more of just an experiment. Just try to enjoy it and have fun with it. And man, the benefits are just huge. I mean, you know, we all talk about diet. Cleansing isn't really mainstream. You know, it's like, it almost seems like people that do it tend to be a little bit more fringe, like whether they're, you know, maybe they're vegan or they're like super hardcore into their health. But I mean, you know, for the average person, a couple cleanses, even like one cleanse a year, man, and you can just, your body will love you for it. I mean, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, like the whole thing is just, it's so amazing. It's, and you know, I mean, with the medical system we have, it's not like doctors are out there telling people to do it. I mean, there's a lot of fear around it. Everyone's like, oh, you're not going to get the right nutrients and proteins and this and that. And a lot of that stuff, if you do your homework, it's really not true. In fact, the body needs a break a lot of the time. The body needs a break from all the crap we're putting in it to really allow itself to clean and get rid of all the junk that's inside of it, all the chemicals and all the fatty tissue and all that kind of crap. And speaking of the master cleanse, you know, you talk about the master cleanse and a lot of people are like, oh my God, you know, you're not going to get enough nutrients. How is that possible? But, and the Wonders have spoke about this a lot. The fact is that the natural maple syrup, the organic maple syrup, has so many minerals and nutrients in it. I mean, if you think about it, it keeps a tree alive, right? I mean, it just makes it's common sense, really. I mean, there's so much nutrients in maple syrup that, together with the lemons to to help cleanse your body and the electrolytes and all that stuff, and the cayenne pepper, like it's like you have so much energy on it that you don't even really notice the difference, other than the fact that you might be like an emotional basket case, like lying in a fetal position, sort of crying in the corner of your room or something. But other than that, it's great, So anyway, that's kind of what we've been doing the last week or so, and things have been busy. I apologize for not having the radio show up sooner. We're trying to do it every 2 weeks, but it's summertime and things come up. We went camping, some gigs, and things just come up. So we'll try to get it every 2 weeks for the fall and the coming year to keep it more consistent. And what else is going on? There's lots of new workshops coming up with the Wonders. Lots of new information on the website. So anybody interested, I won't run them all down now, but if anybody's interested in attending workshops, or study groups are also starting for the year, you can attend study groups. So how that works is the study groups happen once a month. I believe there's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or is it Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday? I'm not 100% sure at the moment, but you have to check the website. But the study groups, you basically join into a certain topic, and then whoever joins up, and it's all done over the phone, and you do a topic once a week or once a month, and then you kind of have the month to percolate and to go explore, and then you come back at the next session in the next month, and kind of continues on. It sounds really exciting. I personally have actually never done it because I teach in the evenings, and I'm usually teaching when that's going on. So I actually haven't had a chance to do it, but maybe one of these days I'll get on there. So that's really cool. And the next show we're going to do, actually, as per the Wonders suggestion, which you'll hear in the session, we're going to have a conversation with Renee. So I've been wanting to do that for a while, and they suggested it too. So that'll be really cool. So those of you who are curious about Renee's life and what it's like channeling the Wonders, and his life with Maggie, and just his life and what he thinks and feels about everything. So that'll be kind of fun. We'll just have a chat. And this week we talked about some interesting stuff too. And you'll hear that in a few minutes. So I guess I'll just stop talking, and thanks everyone for tuning in. Thanks for sending your questions, those of you who have, and have a great week, and we'll see you all next time. Take care, everybody.
Yes, we have this one.
Thank you. May we begin?
Please.
Okay, Jeff.
Greetings, Wonders.
Greetings, Jeff.
When we were at the retreat, Renee and the group, we were talking about playing out there in the universe, and I mentioned, I don't know how we actually led to it, but I mentioned something about Jonathan Livingston Seagull, and at the end of Jonathan Livingston Seagull, where he reaches sort of beyond time and space.
Yes.
And then Renee said that when he goes off and plays, he speaks to Jonathan.
Yes, oftentimes.
And I thought that was really, really fascinating. We didn't get a chance to get too into it, but I was just curious as to what form and sort of how does that all come about?
Understand something, that there are no limits.
Yeah.
Other than the ones you impose on yourself. Oh, which defining statement is that?
Yeah, that's a good one.
Right. So if there are no limits, and other than the ones you impose on yourself, then why would you choose to impose it? If you want to go out and explore without limits. Now, does that mean you have to physically be present? No.
Mm-hmm.
But it does mean that you can explore without limits.
Mm-hmm.
What Renee does, and to his credit, it's his choice. He's done this, by the way, since he was a child.
Mm-hmm.
He lets himself go. Truly lets himself go.
Mm-hmm.
So his attachment to his physicality is gone.
Mm-hmm.
He's no longer present in his physicality. But his essence, his awareness as himself, if you want to call it his ego, that stays. And it goes out. And it goes out and plays. Now, oftentimes, it also dissipates as it plays. It doesn't stay formed as your physical form would stay formed, for example.
I see.
You see? So there isn't a structure to his self, if you want to call it that. You can't pinpoint it and say, well, there he is. You see? Because there he is doesn't apply anymore. There are no limits. So he lets himself go.
Right.
And the more he lets himself go, the more he spreads out, the deeper and broader he becomes. As he becomes broader and deeper, well, then he gets to go and explore time and space in a variety of different ways. And not just time and space. He goes beyond time and space eventually, and oftentimes does that regularly. In fact, he's doing it right now as we're having a conversation with you. And this is why he can, as a result of that, have conversations with all the conscious thoughts, if you want to call it that exist. If you think of all thoughts, every individual in humanity thinks, right? And every thought that they have is a creation that goes out, and it's an energy, if you want to call it that. It's a creative energy. It goes out, it expresses itself. Anyone, absolutely anyone, can interact with all of those thoughts at any time. Most people don't choose to because it scares the bejesus out of them.
Yeah.
It makes them do little brown things in their pants, you see? And since they don't have that many pants, they don't want to do that. So the resultant is that what Direné does, he goes out and he literally interacts with virtually any and all thoughts he chooses, which is why oftentimes when he returns back to his physical body, he has a sense, a presence, of course, even a sense of having interacted with people, but he never did. You see? He physically was not present there. So he walks down the road. Next thing you know, he meets someone, and he knows he's had interactions with them. But he's never met them before. He's never physically been present in their presence before. Do you see how it works?
Yeah.
Because he's chosen to interact with those particular thoughts. Now, what makes his willingness to choose one thought over another thought? Nothing, just choice. Curiosity sometimes. Sometimes it's simply a question of absorbing. No, absorbing is not the right word. Interacting with, participating with all the thoughts as they move through his conscious essence. You see? And he can just pick and choose from there whichever one he wants to consciously remember, which he doesn't often, there's no necessity to, but it is all part of him. So if you look at it from that perspective, that all thoughts become part of who he is, well, then you can also realize that all thoughts are part of who you are.
Yeah.
And if you see it from that perspective, then you gain the awareness that really there is no such thing as an original thought. For all thoughts have been thought by all things at all times, regardless. You see?
That's interesting.
And when you see it from that perspective, what you consider to be an original idea, an original thought, really is just someone expressing it first.
It just is. It already is, yeah.
You see?
That's interesting.
So what Direné does is he goes out and he plays. So when Jonathan Livingston Seagull was created by Richard Bach, that thought of creation became energy, became, if you want to call it that, formed is a good way to describe it. And that form can be viewed as being real, even to the point of being physically real, because it is part of the third dimensional reality. You see? So in that sense, he can go and have any conversations with anything with Jonathan Livingston Seagull at all times. Now, the thing is with Direné was always fascinated by Jonathan.
Understandably so.
And the resultant is, to him, Jonathan is a playful expression. He can go out and play with Jonathan anytime. He's fascinated by Jonathan. He's fascinated by the movement, the concepts, the constructs, the ideas. So what he does is he goes out and plays with Jonathan, because to him, Jonathan is as real as you are to him now. You see? But he also plays with Richard Bach. So he also, you see, he plays with and interacts with virtually any and all consciousness that exists. Jonathan is just one of those constructs that he really has fun with. It lightens him up. It really shines a bright light into his consciousness, and he enjoys it. It's a pleasure. It's an actual joy for him to interact with Jonathan. You see? Because Jonathan has gone out and explored far beyond what Richard Bach has ever written about.
Right.
So Jonathan is out there exploring, and he's become so much more. Richard hasn't really written about it. He hasn't connected to it, but that's okay. He will one day. And in the meantime, Jonathan's having a good time, and Renee's having a good time with Jonathan. You think?
So was Jonathan ever incarnated physically?
Not in the sense of an actual physical seagull.
No, not as a seagull, but just as any kind of entity or...
No, it's a construct. It's a thought construct that has gone beyond its description. And the energy, when you create a thought, let's say you think to yourself, I want spaghetti tonight, okay? To you, the thought ends when you get your spaghetti at night, okay? But that thought continues on.
Okay.
Especially if you haven't given it a limit. If you haven't given it tonight, for example, as a limit, you've said, I just want spaghetti, okay? So now all of a sudden it goes out, and it goes out and plays. And that thought is out there, expanding. It's like a ripple in a pond. Have you ever thrown a rock in a pond? Well, the ripple near the epicenter is very, very tight. But as it progresses further away, progresses from the epicenter, it gets to be to the point where you don't actually see the ripple on the pond anymore. But yet that energy is moving outwards. You see? Now, if there are no limits, let's say there's no edge to the pond, and it just keeps going, doesn't it? And it seems to blend in with everything. So you can't really see that particular thought because it's all blended in with everything else. But yet at the same time, if you wanted to, you could. You see?
Interesting.
So that's basically what's happened with Jonathan. He's gone out there and played and expanded himself and found new ways of really assisting all the other seagulls. And you'll find that there's a certain level of consciousness within the seagulls that's been raised as a result of Jonathan. You see?
That's interesting. Is that similar to how, like a thought without judgment, like when you limit a thought, is that similar to if we were to sort of express a thought through ourselves without judgment into this reality, that it would manifest itself quicker, or with I don't know what, do you know what I'm saying?
But you see, the quicker is judgment.
Okay. Not necessarily quicker, but like with more.
More is judgment.
Yeah.
You see, every word you're using is based on judgment. Look at it from this perspective. If you had a thought without judgment, if you just had a thought, forget judging it, just a thought, okay? Yes, it comes out and it expresses itself. Now, some people will choose to interact with that thought and express it into the reality, and some won't.
Right.
You see? So just because you had a thought, it doesn't mean that it'll show up and manifest in physicality, but yet it is part of the third dimensional consciousness. And so as a result, you could say it has expressed itself in the physicality of third dimension. You see? So it's not that it becomes touchy-feely physical. It can, depending on the individuals that interact with that thought, but it can also just simply be there, and then someone else takes that thought at some other point in time and space and expands upon it, or grows it, or changes its direction, or whatever. Do you see?
Interesting.
Fascinating, isn't it?
Yeah.
So when you're looking at it from that perspective, dear Renee goes out and plays. So what's to stop you from playing?
Yeah. I mean, I guess I struggle with the letting go that he is doing.
Well,
and like when I do it, I mean, I meditate in my own way and I'm doing it my own way, but I guess
But you see, you judge yourself.
I do.
If you didn't judge yourself, then you wouldn't be trying to do what he does. You see? Don't look at him as he's so perfect. We assure you, he's not that perfect.
Yeah, no.
He's good.
I guess that ability to just take a breath and you're gone. That's pretty.
Understand though, it took him a while before he actually realized that it was that easy.
Yeah, that's true.
So you're still working on it. Why can't you take your breath and just let go?
Yeah. The letting go thing is
it's a
little unknown. I mean, I kind of liken it to, and maybe I'm off here, but I'll just put it out there anyway. It's almost like if you were prepared to die, you would have no more attachment to anything.
Well,
similar to that?
No, Yes. Look at it from this perspective.
Right.
What if you just took a breath and just see what happens?
Yeah.
The moment you say, I see what happens, you're letting go. You see?
Yeah, that's true.
So, does it matter what happens afterwards if you let go?
No.
Not really.
Otherwise, you won't be able to let go, I guess.
Exactly. What you do is you take your breath and then you anticipate and you wait for a certain result that your mind has already judged.
Yeah, it gets in the way.
Well, of course, that's not letting go then.
No.
But what if you just took a breath and said, well, what's going to happen?
Yeah.
You see?
It's amazing.
Now, the difference between René and yourself is that he can do it at any point in time during the day, regardless of whether he's awake or asleep. Do you think?
Yeah.
And where you have to you're still in that space where you're creating a formality for yourself and saying, yes, I want to sit down, I want to quiet my body, I want to relax, I want to go into my meditative space, and then I can let go. Do you see? Just try taking a breath during the day. See what happens. Maybe you'll go out somewhere. Maybe you'll come back. Maybe you won't. Who knows?
Yeah, exactly.
And if you don't come back, it's not a big deal. No,
no, I guess not.
well, you're not back, so what do you got to worry about?
Yeah, exactly. Wherever I am, I guess.
You see?
That's neat.
So try something like that. You'll be surprised. It's as we said, it's not. If you have preconceived ideas of what letting go is, you'll never let go.
No.
When we spoke to dear René and we gave him the indication, a construct by which he could use to realize what it is to let go, even when he let go, he didn't have any preconceived ideas of what it was. He just realized that it could be that easy. You see?
Oh, I see.
So he let go. And then he found out what it was all about.
Yeah.
When he first started channeling, the very, very first moment that he actually began channeling after a number of years where he had stopped himself completely. And don't forget, he was doing this when he was a child, but long, long later in life, much later in life, after he'd, in his 30s, late 30s, early 40s, when he actually began to actually do the channeling. It was simple. He just wanted to let go. He was in a meditation class. He was in the middle of a meditation. And he said, wonder what happens.
Yeah.
And as soon as he said, I wonder what happens, he found out. The next thing you know, when he opened his eyes, everybody's sitting around him, and they're all looking at him with their faces completely in awe and curiosity and wonderment. The chins are dropping down to the knees. And he says, what's going on? And they're saying, you've been talking for the last 15 minutes. You see?
Yeah.
So it's that easy.
Yeah.
Want to try it? Give it a shot. And if you really want to, there's a good series on called Learning to Channel, which might help you. It'll guide you, but it's not the be-all and end-all. And ultimately, it's all about just making a choice and saying to yourself, I wonder what will happen if I take a breath and just let go. Do you think?
Yeah, I'll check it out.
Yeah, might like it. Fascinating, isn't it?
Oh, man, yeah.
Now, the next time, when you have a conversation for this radio show, what if you had a conversation with dear René?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Why not?
Yeah, no, I agree. I was thinking about doing that a while ago.
We come through a lot. We'll continue to come through. What if you had a conversation with dear René about his life, his choices, whatever?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Wouldn't that be interesting for your audience?
Yeah. Yeah, I think they'd love to hear it.
And then you could really ask those deep, dark questions you've been always wanting to ask, but you're too afraid to ask because, you're afraid he might not answer them. Do you think?
Possibly.
Well, the thing is, you see, he'll always answer them.
Yeah, he does. In fact, he seems to really enjoy it.
Well, he doesn't have anything to hide, so why shouldn't he answer them?
Exactly.
You have more to hide than he does. You're more scared of being yourself than he is, for sure. Do you think?
Yeah. Yeah, oh, for sure.
You hide
yourself. I think that's why I admire him for that, because I ultimately would love to be in that space.
Well, then why don't you just choose?
Yeah.
That would be too easy, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Starting to sound pretty good, though.
Yeah, well, give it a shot. See what happens. Remember the see what happens thing?
Yeah, right.
And then you'll be surprised.
Yeah.
And then, surprise of surprises, there you go. You find yourself in that space and you say to yourself, geez, I didn't know that happened.
Hmm.
I didn't know that could happen. Wow. Do you think?
Yeah.
How else did the world explore? How else did Christopher Columbus find North America? How
Yeah.
did Jacques Cartier find Canada? You see?
Hmm.
How
Yeah.
did the Spanish find Mexico and the South America? You see? How
Yeah.
did anybody find it? How did they? Because they said, I wonder what's over there.
Hmm.
How did the mousetrap get built? Somebody said, I wonder if.
Hmm.
I
For
wonder. You see?
sure.
Which is rather appropriate considering everybody wonders who we are too.
Yeah. Who are you?
Yes. But if you don't wonder, if you don't question, if you don't have that curiosity, will you ever really let go?
No.
All you're doing right now is you're talking to yourself about, I wish, but you're not choosing.
Hmm.
Remember the old saying, wishers never choose, choosers never wish.
It's such a. It's probably not all that unfamiliar, but it seems like such an unknown, unfamiliar thing to even go towards, But at the same time, it's not.
No, you do it all the time.
Yeah.
You do it all the time, dear Jeff. You just do it in small little increments instead of doing it in large directions that you want to.
Hmm.
That's all.
Yeah, it's cool. Interesting.
Anything
What
else?
else?
There seems to be some kind of static on the line here.
Oh, really? I don't
Yes.
hear it.
Good for you. It is at this end.
Is there anything you would like to talk about?
Nope, we've done that.
Okay.
So now it's your turn.
Um.
So here's the question we have for you.
Okay.
Why are you trying to fill in 15 minutes if all you've got is 10?
Yeah, it's true. I guess I don't need to.
You see?
Yeah.
Understand that whether it be 10 or 15, the point is the message there?
Yeah. Yeah.
Now,
it is.
what we would suggest here for all the listeners is ask yourselves, can you let go enough to say, I wonder what that'll bring, without having to preconceive the idea? See what happens. Go around and wonder. Then you'll be wonders too,
That'd be something.
wouldn't it?
Yeah. Well, on that note, thank you very much.
And we thank you, dear friend. To you, the appreciation of all.
The appreciation of all wonders.
Excuse me. Wonders, may we move to end this session?
Please.
Please perform all healings that are chosen.
Done.
Please relax the body to its natural state now.
And to you all, the appreciation of all.
The appreciation of all wonders. I would like Renee to awake feeling completely loved now.
Came out of that session. It's kind of funny because I was watching myself going out and playing with Jonathan Livingston Seagull and wondering, I was asking him, hey, I wonder why we're here. And he's sitting there going, because some idiot decided to ask about us.
What?
I was like, oh, okay, I wonder what that happened.
Someone's bothering us.
Yeah. Anyhow, what I also got out of that session, which was rather interesting, is that, people always ask themselves, how can I possibly let go? How can I possibly do this? How can I possibly do that? And it's people think they're letting go when they're really spending so much time and energy trying to force the letting go to go in a certain way, and they're not really. They're just forcing things. They're moving things in a certain way. Letting go is really not having any preconceived idea about what the result will be. And a lot of people do that. We do that. Everybody does it to a certain point about a lot of things in life, but we don't tend to do it as consistently about the things that we really want to let go of. So if people really would realize it, just don't think about what the results will be. Just go ahead and try something and see what happens. And then it'll be really letting go. And that was it. That's all I got.
Thank you.
Cool. Thank you.